Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Friday, April 11th, 2025. Now, if you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put your baseball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, the games I love the most, including my MLB Rundown best bet each day, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alright, here we go. Here are the games for Friday in Major League Baseball. First up, we have the Kansas City Royals taking on the Cleveland Guardians. We've got Tanner Bibee and Kris Bubic on the mound. I do think the Royals are at the advantage in this game. Not only have they already seen Tanner Bibee this season, they faced him on March 30th, and while they struggled to score in that one, they only had 2 strikeouts in 5 2/3, and Bibee struggled quite a bit in that next outing against the Angels. 4 home runs, 7 earned runs to go with it in a 10-4 Guardians loss. But also, Kris Bubic didn't have to face the Guardians in that first series, and he's just pitching really well right now. His first 2 games, 2 wins for the Royals, 2 wins for Bubic. Quality starts, strikeout numbers are there, the control's been excellent, and no home runs given up. The Guardians have some decent numbers against lefties offensively to start the year. They've done better against lefties and righties, and we know Cleveland's got a great bullpen, but I still think KC takes this one. I think they have the big advantage in the starting pitching matchup, and even late in this game, when Cleveland has the better bullpen, but their offense has really struggled, they've been inconsistent. I got to go with the Royals in this one on the money line. Next up, one of the Apple TV games between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds. This one is 6:40 Eastern. Bailey Falter and Brady Singer are your starters. Not only has Bailey Falter struggled against these current Reds hitters with a low strikeout rate, high walk rate, high expected slugging percentage, but he's also struggled at Great American Ballpark in particular in a career of 14 2/3 innings at Great American, 11.05 ERA, 0-2 record, 24 hits, 19 total runs, 18 of those were earned, 3 bombs. Not the walks haven't really been a problem, but he has just given up a lot of sharp contact at Great American. I know the Reds have not been, special against lefties to start the year, but they've been special against Falter, so I think they can get to him. And Brady Singer pitching really well in his first 2 starts as a Cincinnati Red. One of those games at Great American, the other one on the road. The Pirates have been one of the worst lineups in baseball against righties this year. I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Reds in this one on the money line, and I'd lay 1.5 runs as well. Next up, we have the Atlanta Braves and the Tampa Bay Rays. A.J. Smith-Shawver and Taj Bradley are your starters. We talk about how the Braves have one of the worst records in the National League to start the season, but I really have not been overly impressed with the Tampa Bay Rays on the other side. This is a team that I mentioned, going into the season, on paper, I thought that their bullpen was the weakest we've seen in quite a while. Yes, Fairbanks is a great closer, but outside of him, I don't see really any stoppers in this bullpen. So I don't love Tampa Bay from the bullpen perspective. I think their rotation is very good, but the lineup for me still not great. And in a game like this where, both of these starting pitchers have been a little bit inconsistent to start the year, Bradley had a great start in his first start, but then gave up 4 in 5 innings against the Rangers with 2 home runs and 4 walks to go with it in a 6-4 Rangers win. Smith-Shawver's had some issues with the control, 6 walks given up in just 8 2/3, but his strikeout numbers have been there, only the 1 home run given up. For me, I think that Smith-Shawver actually gets some run support in this one instead of getting shut out the first 2 games of his season. I think the Braves win this one. I trust their bats a little bit more, especially with Sean Murphy now back in the lineup healthy. Give me the Atlanta Braves in this game on the money line. Next up, the San Francisco Giants taking on the New York Yankees. Robbie Ray and Marcus Stroman are the starters. We've talked about how the Yankees have hit lefties very well to start the season. High OPS, high isolated power. However, a couple lefties they faced in recent games, Andrew Heaney and Tarek Skubal, put together great outings. And Robbie Ray might not be the reigning Cy Young winner like Skubal is, but he is a Cy Young champion himself. And he's pitching pretty well to start the season. 2-0 record, 3.18 ERA. I'd like to see the strikeout numbers definitely improve. Robbie Ray is a strikeout-dependent starter. Only 6 Ks in 11 1/3 with 6 walks to go with it is not what you want to see, especially add 3 home runs. But I do like the fact that he's getting outs in different ways. I think he's going to be able to miss some more bats as the season continued, as he was in spring training. And, Marcus Stroman on the other side for the Yankees, not really my favorite option. He has struggled to start the year. He's not got the best numbers against the Giants and his, the current Giants lineup in his career. So I'm going to go with the Giants in this one on the money line. The Yankees had an amazing start to the season. They've just been mediocre since. I'll go with the Giants on the money line in this one. Next up, the Toronto Blue Jays and the Baltimore Orioles. Bowden Francis and Tomoyuki Sugano are your starters. Similar to that Royals-Guardians game, I do give the advantage to the Blue Jays in this one, not only do they have the superior starting pitching option, but beyond that, the Orioles did not get to face Francis in that first series, while the Blue Jays saw Tomoyuki Sugano in that first series. And while they didn't do a ton of damage against him, it was only one strikeout through 4 innings of work with 2 walks and 4 hits to go with it. They made some sharp contact. I think they'll be able to get to Sugano for a few runs early in this game. I think Francis is a great option for the Blue Jays. He had a much better start in his second outing of the season against the Mets than he did in the first one, where he gave up 2 home runs. It still was a quality start in that first game, though, and it was still a Blue Jays win. So Francis is pitching well to start the year. I like the Blue Jays matchup against Sugano. They're coming off a great series with the Red Sox. Give me Toronto in this one on the money line. Next up, we have the Washington Nationals taking on the Miami Marlins. Mitchell Parker and Cal Quantrill are your starters. You look at the Nationals in their last series, taking 2 of 3 against the mighty Dodgers, and even the final game of the series, which was the only loss for the Nats, they were very competitive. They found themselves in a hole early, 4-0. They were able to battle back and cover the run line at the very least in the end. The problem for me is, even though Mitchell Parker is pitching very, very well, 2-0 record, sub-1 ERA against the Phillies and Diamondbacks, 2 very tough lineups, both of those games were at home. Last year in 88 1/3 innings, Mitchell Parker had a sub-3 ERA at home with a very low at 230 opponent's batting average. On the road was where he had his problems, where we find him here. On the road last season, about 66 innings, he had a ERA above 6.5. It was 6.61, I believe, with a 297 opponent's batting average, about 70 points higher than what it was at home. So he struggled mightily on the road, and he also faces a Marlins team here that's been decent against lefties. I mean, we talk about how the Marlins are one of the worst lineups in baseball, and rightfully so, but against left-handed pitching, Miami is top 15 in team OPS, top 15 in isolated power, strikeout rate's not too shabby, and you look at some of the other numbers. I mean, Miami is top 10 in baseball right now in expected batting average, so when they're putting the ball in play, they're actually making some decent contact. I think the Marlins have actually been one of the more unlucky teams to start the season. Cal Quantrill struggled mightily in that first game against the Mets. He was a lot better against Atlanta in the second start. 5 innings, a shutout ball, ended up being a 4-0 Marlins win. I'm going to take a shot here with Miami at home on the money line. Next up, we have the Boston Red Sox taking on the Chicago White Sox. Sean Newcomb and Davis Martin are your starters. Don't love this game because of the price for me. I just think while the White Sox have struggled against lefties, Davis Martin has struggled this season. I don't think Sean Newcomb should be this big of a favorite in most games. He pitched well in that last one against St. Louis, had 5 strikeouts, 4 2/3, only the 1 run. I think he gets the run support in this game, so that's why I will back Boston on the run line and lay the 1.5 runs, try to get a better price, but a game I'll be staying away from. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Houston Astros. We're going to see Jack Kowanowitz and Mr. Ronel Blanco on the mound for the Astros. Now, Ronel Blanco struggled with his control right now. His pitch counts are going way up early in his outings. Only 6 2/3 through his first 2 games because of the 6 walks in those 6 2/3. And, 9 strikeouts to go with it. No home runs given up. But still, the base runners, the earned runs are piling up for Blanco. And when you're facing an Angels lineup that looks to be a little bit more competitive this year, I got to say, I doubted the Angels in the preseason, and they could still very well fall off, as we've seen many times from the Angels in recent years. But they look like they're going to be a little bit more competitive in 2025. It's not just Mike Trout producing in this lineup. Guys like Logan O'Hoppe and Kyron Paris getting those extra base hits and home runs. Angels making some sharp contact. I think they can get to Blanco for a few runs. Jack Kowanowitz, he's given up 3 bombs in his first 2 games. Not necessarily what you want to see against the White Sox and the Guardians. And while I don't think it's going to be a perfect outing here, he's been good enough for the Angels to pick up wins in both of his starts. He mixes in a few strikeouts here and there. I think as long as he doesn't blow up early in this game, the Angels have a really good chance to win it. So I'm going to go with the Angels at this kind of price on the money line. Next up, the Minnesota Twins and the Detroit Tigers. We got Reese Olson and Chris Paddock on the mound. Now, I think because of both of these starters' struggles to start the season, with Olson an ERA above 5, Paddock at 14.73, similar to the Pirates-Cardinals under that we took a couple of days ago, where Fedde and Keller both had ERAs above 7, it gave us a little bit of wiggle room and a pretty decent price on the under in that one. I think we take the under in this game. Still 2 lineups I'm not in love with, especially Minnesota. I thought this year was going to be they take the next step offensively. I still think they can very well do so, especially with Royce Lewis, if he can come back healthy and stay on the field, and if the Twins can make some moves at the deadline. But right now, the current state of this Twins lineup is not great, and I think that Reese Olson pitches well, but I also think Chris Paddock, we saw how he pitched really well in spring training. He was a lot better in the second outing of the season. I think he'll be decent enough in this game to keep this game under the total, and you got two great bullpens to go with it. So give me the under in Twins Tigers. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Phillies and the St. Louis Cardinals. Aaron Nola and Andre Pallante are your starters. Andre Pallante does a good job at keeping the ball on the ground. He's got a great ground ball percentage to start the season. But the Phillies are actually leading the league in line drive percentage. Another thing that Pallante has struggled this year is, not just this year, but in his career, has been the control. He's given up a lot of walks at the major league level, and so far this season, 5 walks in 9 1/3 innings. The Phillies lead the league in walk percentage against right-handed pitching at 15%. So I actually think this matchup benefits benefits a team like the Phillies against a pitcher like Pallante. And Aaron Nola is a good option on the other side. We've seen him blow up in innings before. He usually pitches outstanding baseball through 4 or 5 innings, and then one of the 6 innings he pitches is a blow-up inning where he gives up a 3-run bomb or something. And like we saw against the Dodgers, that was enough for the Dodgers to win that last game 3-1. I still think, though, that Nola's a good option in this rotation. Still not in love with the Cardinals lineup on paper. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Phillies on the money line and run line on the road. Next up, the Colorado Rockies taking on the San Diego Padres. German Marquez and Nick Pivetta are the starters. Tough spot for the Rockies, in my opinion. No days off in between the homestand in Coors Field and now this game in San Diego. I expect their bats to suffer early in this game and potentially the whole game. Nick Pivetta pitching well to start his first couple of games as a Padre. I think he puts together a quality start. Marquez is a good option for the Rockies, but he had control issues in that last game. 6 walks given up. San Diego, I expect to score just enough to win and cover this run line in the end. It's a steep price, but I'm willing to pay it. Give me San Diego laying the 1.5 runs. Next up, we have the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. We're still waiting for a starter from Milwaukee. Eduardo Rodriguez going for the D-backs. Similar to the Rockies, I expect the Brewers' offense to struggle early in this game, coming off the Coors Field series, no days off in between. And Rodriguez has good numbers against the current Brewers lineup. Very small sample size, but in 25 plate appearances, a 44% strikeout rate and a 291 xWOBA, 175 expected batting average. So he's pitching well against the current Brewers lineup. You're facing a Brewers team that overall against lefties has not done too much this season. And with the uncertainty with the Brewers pitching staff and bullpen right now, with all of those injuries, I do think this is a big-time advantage for Arizona in Game 1 of this series. Give me Arizona on the money line and run line in this one. Next up, we have the Texas Rangers taking on the Seattle Mariners. Jacob deGrom and Bryce Miller are your starters. deGrom's pitched well in his first 2 starts, not dominant baseball. Last game 4 runs, 2 bombs, 8 hits in 5 2/3. But 2 wins for the Rangers, and that's all that matters. That's what the Rangers are looking for with deGrom on the bump. I think they make it 3 wins in this game. I like the matchup for the Rangers' bats against Bryce Miller. Miller is struggling a bit to start the season with an ERA above 5. His last game against San Francisco, 5 1/3, 3 walks, 4 earned runs, 7 hits. No, only 1 home run given up in the first 11 innings, so that's not too shabby, but he's not missing as many bats as I'd like to see. The control's been off, and his career numbers against the current Rangers lineup is not great. You look at the numbers, 21% strikeout rate, not too bad, but a 422 xWOBA, 634 expected slugging percentage, 314 expected batting average. I think the Rangers get to him for a few early. deGrom can give a quality start, and the Rangers win this game on the road. I also just don't love this Mariners offense right now in general. Very inconsistent. So give me the Rangers in this one on the money line and run line. Next up, we have the New York Mets and the Athletics. We got J.P. Sears and Griffin Canning on the mound. I do think the Mets have the big-time bullpen advantage in this game. I'm not sure it's enough for them to win the game in the end, but I'd rather just focus on the first 5 innings for now with the Athletics, with J.P. Sears against Canning, as I do think the A's have the advantage there. Even though they've been better against lefties and righties, they do have good numbers, the A's do, against Griffin Canning in their career. Now, you could argue this is a different Griffin Canning than last year's Canning or the years prior. It looks like he's a little bit sharper this season with his new team. But in the career numbers, Canning last year faced the A's twice, had a decent outing in one of them, got crushed in the other. And, he's got a 545 expected slugging percentage. The xWOBA is a little bit steep. The strikeout rate's low. I think the A's can find a few runs on Canning early. And J.P. Sears has been one of the better options for the A's in the starting pitching rotation to start the year with 2 quality starts. He's pitching deep into ball games. He's got good numbers against the current Mets lineup. I'll take the A's in the first 5 innings. That bullpen ERA is the steepest in baseball right now, so I'm just going to take the A's in the first 5 innings. Next up, we have the Chicago Cubs and the Los Angeles Dodgers, the final game for Friday's card. Matthew Boyd and Yoshinobu Yamamoto are your starters. Now, the Dodgers have not looked as dominant in the last couple of series as they were in the first few series of the season. You can say, they were on the road. Right now, they're still 6-0 at home, but I still, don't love the Dodgers at this kind of price. When you look at this matchup, Matthew Boyd, a lefty, facing a Dodgers team is ranked 20th right now in team OPS against left-handed pitching with a 25.5% team strikeout rate, which is pretty steep, one of the highest in baseball. And, Matthew Boyd, 11 innings of shutout ball to start the season against the Diamondbacks and the Padres, two very good lineups. The control's been a little bit of an issue, but 10 strikeouts, no home runs. He's pitching very well. And I mentioned with the Royals game and another game we talked about, the Orioles game, Yoshinobu Yamamoto faced the Cubs in that Tokyo series. The Cubs have already seen him once this season. While they didn't do a lot of damage in that first matchup, it was still 5 innings with less than a strikeout per inning, a walk and a run scored. I think Chicago could do some more damage in this, this time around, the second start, and Boyd has the advantage when it comes to, less familiarity. So I'm going to go with the Cubs in this one, plus the 1.5 runs on the money line. I think, you could argue this is their best chance of winning a game in this series. I think it's a pretty good chance. And that's it. Those are the games for Friday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium, and there is a link in the description. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.